Well, good morning, Aaron. So that walk is taking place right here at the park at Riverwalk, and it's all taking place tomorrow. So if you're interested in coming and supporting this cause, the whole point is to get drunk drivers off the road. So we're trying to raise awareness for that, raise funds to prevent stuff like this from happening, because of course these types of accidents are 100% preventable. It's up to the person to actually get in the car under the influence and then proceed to start driving, which is the reason why a lot of these crashes actually happen and so many fatalities come out of it as well. So we do have the one of the cars that was actually in a crash as a visual for us this morning to kind of get you to realize how serious this is. And even though it is a 5K tomorrow and it does have some fun elements at the same time, it is something that we should be taken into consideration and taken very, very seriously. So this morning we have two victims, Alicia Smith and Jessica McGee, with us this morning. And then we're also going to talk to Sergeant Perry in just a little bit. But I wanted to kind of get your story, what exactly happened, and kind of just what were you doing earlier before you actually got in the car and then got in the accident?
I was actually working. I worked at Pink in the mall, and it was 4th of July. Got off work, my husband picked me up and was taking me to my mom's house. Our kids were already there, luckily, and we were less than a few miles away from my parents' house getting ready to have fun and celebrate the 4th of July, and I looked up and all of a sudden there was this huge truck in our lane, the wrong lane, and it was coming straight for us, and next time I opened my eyes, my car was spinning.
Oh my goodness. So how long ago did this happen, and what kind of injuries did you have to deal with?
It happened last 4th of July, so in 2014. I suffered a broken hip, which I now have 3 metal plates and 9 screws holding together, which will be with me for the rest of my life. I suffered a broken knee, and then I tore my shoulder.
And how is your husband? He was in the car with you, right?
Yeah, he has some permanently broken fingers on his hand, so he can't open and close his hand all the way. And we have some emotional scars.
So what's the process like for you now? Because I know you've done events like this before, but looking at a car like this and seeing the damage that an accident like you were in and like Jessica was in and a lot of other people, does it bring back some of those emotions sometimes when you look at this?
Oh yeah, definitely. I actually was looking, because I was in the passenger seat, and I was looking at the glove compartment thinking, oh, that was wrapped around my knee when I was in my car. And you know, I'm looking at the way this was hit. It was actually very similar, only the opposite side since I was on the passenger side. But yeah, it is hard to look at things sometimes, and it's hard to process that was me, it happened to me, and you just kind of have to go forward.
So what was it like, because I know you said you have kids, what was it like facing them for the first time and having them see you that way too?
It was actually weeks later, when I was in rehab hospital, and my 3-year-old was the first one to come see me. And at first he ran up to me, and then he realized I was in a wheelchair and I had a leg brace, and mommy was scary, and he ran away, and I just cried. It was awful. Now, you know, I still kind of hobble around and stuff, but he's used to it. They still make little comments every now and then about how they wish the accident never happened, and they wish mommy was okay all the time, because there's days where it's just hard.
So what happened to, it was you versus the truck, so what happened to the truck? Are they alive? Have you been able to talk to them? Forgiveness, anything like that?
So we went to trial, and he was let go with probation. He has since moved back home to South Dakota, so he's doing well. He was not injured, and this is how I get through it, by advocating with MADD, by getting my story out, by giving this vehicle a voice. That's how I heal.
Got it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I really, really appreciate it. We are almost out of time, so we're actually going to speak with Jessica and the sergeant when we come right back. But again, the 5K happening tomorrow right here at the Riverwalk. Will you be here?
Yes, I will.
Perfect. So you can meet her and everyone else as well. We'll hear their stories also and get kind of a different perspective, because we're going to get an officer's, sergeant's perspective as well as another victim's perspective. But stick with us. We'll have more when we come right back. Right now, though, Aaron, back to you. We are here at the park at Riverwalk, where the 5K dash is happening tomorrow. So if you don't have anything to do and you want to come support a really great cause, you can, because this is all to prevent drunk drivers getting on the street, raising awareness, and making sure you guys are safe when you actually hit the road. So we spoke with Alicia earlier. She is right over here. She told us her story. We actually had Officer Rodriguez just show up. We have Officer Perry with us this morning. We're going to get to Jessica, because her story is quite quite a story. So I appreciate you in advance for sharing it. So just tell us a little bit about what exactly happened the day that you guys got in your accident and what your relationship was with the girls in the car.
Yeah, the day that we actually got in the accident, we went to the last Blaze game, and it kind of ran a little late because it was the last time they were showing the fireworks, and we were actually on our way home when we got into the accident, so we never made it home at all, and that's just where we were trying to go. We were actually co-workers. I knew one of the girls from high school, and then she started working for the same credit union that I worked for, and then I met the other girl while we were working there, so we got really close because we were with each other every day, so we were kind of just like sisters and a whole big family.
So you are the only survivor from that crash.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel, and how, just like I asked Alicia earlier, how does it make you feel looking at a car like this and knowing your car looked really similar?
It makes me feel overwhelmed at times. I know when I saw it last year, I was just getting out of my accident, so as soon as I saw it, I just started crying because it brought back memories about how I get to go on with my life even as different as it is, but they will not. One of them had a baby girl, and the other one was just like trying to get out of college and be a nurse, so it's kind of different when the only thing that they thought about was helping people and then living for their families, and now they won't be able to do that.
So you were in the hospital for how long again?
About 2 weeks and a half.
Okay. So you two actually met last year at the walk here, and you were saying you guys were wheelchair buddies.
Yeah.
So is it kind of nice and comforting to know, even though this was such a tragic event, you actually have someone where you guys can kind of relate and get over things together?
Yeah, it is, and that's why I got involved with MADD, because MADD for me is just like a support system. You don't realize, okay, other people have gone to this, they know what you're dealing with, and obviously hearing her story, I'm just like, I have relatable facts to the same stories that you have, and MADD helps bring everyone together to where it feels like you're one big family, like you're here to support people, and that's really nice to have, especially in a time where you feel like you're just by yourself.
We ran out of time again, but we're going to continue with you and then get a different perspective, because I know you guys always show up to some of the scenes, so I kind of want to see what you guys think about it and kind of put this all together. But we will have more. Stick with us. This is all for Mothers Against Drunk Driving, the walk that is happening tomorrow when we come right back. Taking place right here tomorrow. We're at the park at Riverwalk. I didn't get this information out, but it starts at 6:30. That's when registration opens. There's a ceremony that happens at 7:30. The 5K starts at 8 a.m. and it's open to the public, so you should come and help out, raise funds for, of course, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and it's all for awareness and preventing DUIs, drunk driving, and of course accidents, just like the two people we spoke to earlier. Alicia had to leave, but we still have Jessica with us this morning, and we spoke to her a little bit earlier. She was in an accident with two other girls, two of her friends that actually work with her as well, and she was the only survivor. Now, we spoke with you earlier. I know it was hard for you to kind of share your story, but I also wanted to touch on the emotional aspect and then also the physical aspect of it, because you do have some permanent scars that now you'll have to deal with.
I do, mostly on my arm. The crash got most of the right side, so my face, it's still trying to heal up, and my arm, it's always going to look sort of like this. It's going to have a mesh feel, scars everywhere, and spaces where it just won't heal entirely. The burns were so bad that they had to take the skin from my leg to cover my arm, so that's the skin that I have right now that's trying to heal. So that's just like the physical part of it.
So when you look at your arm and when you think back and when you look at a car like this, does it just kind of take you back to that moment?
It does. When I look at my arm, my sister reminds me it's a tattoo saying that you're survived, and I still have people look at me weird because it's different, and there's nothing wrong with different, but sometimes it could get a little overwhelming because I'm always going to have these scars just to remind me of things that I don't want to be reminded of, and the only way I could get through is just looking at it like I'm alive, I'm here, and hopefully now I could help people not go through the same thing that I went through.
So the walk tomorrow, how important is it for you to make sure people come out here, meet you, meet Alicia, and just show their support?
It's very important for me because, like I said, MADD is a support system. You have people that go through this that don't know what they want to do or don't know how to move on, and MADD is the first step. You help people not go through the same thing, not have families affected, not losing their loved ones over something that could have been preventable, and that's what MADD is. It is preventable, and drunk driving, you shouldn't just get behind the wheel just because you think you're okay after a couple of beers.
Great advice. We ran out of time again. I will get to you guys. We have some stats that we're going to go over to make sure you guys know the seriousness of all of this and more information on how you can help fundraise for this cause. Right now, back to you, Erin. Well, good morning, Rob. So the event is tomorrow, kicks off at 6:30. That's when registration begins. There's a ceremony at 7:30, and then the 5K starts at 8:30 right here at the Park at Riverwalk. So we've been talking all morning to two victims, one left. We still have Jessica with us this morning, but we kind of wanted to get a different perspective. So we have Officer Robert Rodriguez with us. We have Brandon from the District Attorney's Office, and we also have Officer Perry with us. So curious to know, what are the stats like in Kern County? How serious of a problem has this been in the past and is currently? And I guess, what's your take on everything from an opposite perspective?
This is an incredibly serious crime that, a lot of people maybe don't take it as serious because they consistently go out and drink and drive. But since 2010, we've had the California Highway Patrol here in Bakersfield has investigated over 120 DUI-related fatalities. So that's a lot, and it's alarming. And so we want to definitely put the message out there. If you are drinking and driving, you will be caught and you will be arrested.
What about you?
Well, at the Kern County District Attorney's Office, our number one concern is public safety. We have 3 dedicated attorneys that are provided. The funding for their positions are provided by the Office of Traffic Safety, and all they do is prosecute felony DUIs, deaths, and injuries. From October of 2014 to June of this year, our office has filed over 3,200 DUI cases, 3,000 of those misdemeanors, and over 200 of those felonies. So obviously there's a huge issue here in Kern County. We'd much rather, not see your name come across our desk, and that's really what we'd like to see.
And from your perspective, what do you think?
The DUI is a problem here. However, people need to realize it not only affects them when they get behind the wheel drinking and driving, it affects their family and the community of Bakersfield. It's not just you out there on the road.
And the piece of the car that we have behind us is a real, it kind of puts you in shock when you look at it, because you see some of these accidents on the roadway, you don't really know what ends up happening. When you see something this severe, you just think to yourself, what on earth? And then when it ends up being some type of driving under the influence, you just know that that's something that's preventable. So it really comes down to just making people aware, making sure people have resources if they need help, in the sense of, they might have drinking problems or something like that, and then just making sure we all kind of come together and get this to stop happening. Now, one of the main sponsors is Chevron. So what's your take on it, and how did you guys partner up?
Well, I think that safety is number one for Chevron, and getting home safely every night to your family is the key message for the folks that work for us here in Kern County. And this just hits close to home. We just want to be out here and support the community, and just know that this does affect everyone. There's victims on both sides of this, and it is a crime, and it's an epidemic, and we're here to support and do all we can to get everyone home safely every night after work.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. Jessica, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Again, the walk is happening right here at the Park at Riverwalk tomorrow morning. Registration kicks off at 6:30, so come meet everyone and show your support to help stop drunk drivers and drinking and driving. We'll be right back.